So deficit is a term that is used to describe a negative balance or a negative bottom line in a situation where that's unexpected. Generally speaking, people are expecting things like municipal budgets or state budgets to end up at a zero level, where the amount of money you collect in tax revenue is the same as the amount of money you spend. You're not supposed to collect more taxes, and you're not supposed to collect less taxes. It's supposed to end up at zero. But it's really hard to predict how much money you're going to get and often how much things are going to cost, which is to say that you spent more than you collected. That's called a deficit, a budget deficit. If it's the other way around, you collected more than you spent, it's called a surplus. A trade deficit is something completely different and unrelated to that. A trade deficit is when you're buying more from a country than you're selling to that country. Think about this as a household. If you have a home, right, you have income and you have expenses. That's your budget, right? If you're making more money than you're spending, then you have a surplus. We call that savings. If you are spending more than you're making, we call that a bad idea, right? And often that results in huge credit card debts. That is a deficit budget. That is not a trade deficit, that is a budget deficit. It's terrible when it happens to an individual at a household level. But as a household, as a home, your trade deficit is always minus. For example, if you're making $100,000 a year and you're only spending $50,000, so you're saving $50,000 a year, that's great, that's a savings. When you go to Costco, of course, you're going to buy more than Costco than you're selling to Costco. And Costco's probably not buying anything from you if you're most people, right? So even though you have such a huge savings, like if Costco was a country, you would have a trade deficit with Costco because you're buying more from Costco than you're selling. Of course you are. Costco has all sorts of stuff. China manufactures all sorts of stuff, right? It manufactures just about everything. Look, China has a huge population and therefore their labor is low. United States has the largest economy in the world. And let's not forget how big a part of the American culture it is to spend, spend, spend. Like, we're a consumer culture and China is the manufacturer of the world. How do you expect an outcome where China is buying as much from the United States as the US is buying from China? When Donald Trump is talking about the trade deficit with China and other countries like Mexico and Canada, these are his words, they're taking advantage of us. He's making it sound like a trade deficit is the same as a trade subsidy. It just isn't. A subsidy is what the American government gives to, let's say, the automotive industry, right? All of us, everybody, whether you drive or not, you pay taxes, and from those taxes, roads are built. And that facilitates cars to be driven. So cars are subsidized by public dollars. It is a subsidy nonetheless. The car industry is subsidized. That's not what's happening with China, right? It's not tax dollars that are being collected and billions of dollars are being paid to China to manufacture. Like, that's not happening, right? It's the opposite that's happening. People are buying stuff from their own money from China. Companies in the United States are importing goods from China and selling it over here for a profit. Like, there isn't a subsidy there. And Donald Trump is conflating these two concepts, and I think he's doing it on purpose. Whether we're talking about China, Mexico, or Canada, isolating one country to do anything like that doesn't make any sense. Every country in the world has things that it does more efficiently than most other countries, right? That is that country's competitive advantage. Canada has a lot of lumber. It has a lot of forests. Of course, that makes sense. China has a lot of population, and therefore they have cheap labor. Of course, they're going to manufacture for the world. Why is the trade deficit such a big deal for Donald Trump? Well, it might actually be a bit of a red herring. It might be a distraction from what's really going on. Hey there, thank you for watching. I am a brand new creator on a brand new channel. If you like the content, then I would appreciate a subscribe and share it with someone. Thanks.